Hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. Now, I am really excited about this episode, not only because we get to celebrate a pretty epic success of one of our Growth Factor students, but because Taylor is so open to sharing the behind the scenes of what it actually took to plan, prepare, and host an event that generated $61,000 in revenue only 2.5 years or so after opening her doors. Now, what I want you to pick out in this episode is how resourceful Taylor is. She figures out a way to make things happen, as you'll hear in this episode, right? One thing that I wanted to add, and this was, sometimes the magic in podcast, it happens, before you hit record or after you stop recording. But we had a couple minutes to chat after, and she was sharing with me that one of the ways that she saved money on this event was by actually doing all of the food herself. So rather than having a huge catering bill, which oftentimes is one of the larger expenses of hosting these events, she actually ordered some super cute cups on Amazon. She put a sticker with her business name on the cup, picked up some meats and cheeses and crackers from Sam's, and she put together, it was so cute, she called them charcuterie cups. So where there's a will, there's a way. And let me tell you, Taylor has a will. She is a real action taker. I know this is only the beginning for her. But again, what I love is to really show you guys the behind the scenes. When I'm bringing our Growth Factor clients on and different people sharing these case studies, I want you to see the work that goes in to making this happen. It's not like Taylor just decided, I want to have an event and, 3 weeks later, I'm going to host it and that's it, right? No, this was such a long time coming. Okay. So planning is essential. I want you to remember that and really give yourself time, really set yourself up for success. Okay. All right. Grab a pen. I know you're going to want to take some notes from this one. Let's go ahead and play that interview. All right, Taylor, welcome to the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. So excited to have you on. This is going to be such a fun topic.
I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I want to do a full breakdown. You had an incredible event, right?
Yes.
Was this your first event that you've put on?
My first big marketed event, I did 2 super small events back in the day, like right before COVID when I had just one other esthetician, but it was like peanuts compared to what we did back in August.
Okay. So tell me what you're comfortable and not comfortable sharing, but how much revenue did you generate at this event?
So total gross sales, we did $61,000 in a day.
That's amazing. In a day. In a day.
Yes.
And so I want to kind of reverse engineer and break this down because it's people always see the tip of the iceberg, like, wow, $61,000 in a day. She did an event. I need to do an event. Mm-hmm. But this was really how long we were planning this for like 8 weeks.
We started this in April. We started talking about this back in April. And thanks to you, you were able to kind of help break it down for me. Okay, like this month you're going to focus on, what was the first thing? Just figuring out what my
logistics, permitting and logistics and dates and vendors.
Yeah, all those things. And we had a couple bumps in the road, but I mean, we started it in April and then the event actually took place August 28th. So it was like my whole heart and soul for all of those months. And it took a lot of work. So
it took a lot of work. And this was also while you're bringing on new estheticians, doing all of, and at this point you were still full-time in the rooms.
Still full-time in the rooms. Yep. And managing a business and all the crazy things.
I know it's crazy when you look back on it, it's like, oh my gosh.
How did I do that? Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So tell me, what was your goal for this event? Why did you want to have it? Were you trying to, is it like grand opening style? Was it bringing awareness to the business? Is it trying to get your team busy? What was the ultimate focus? What were you trying to achieve with hosting this event?
I would say the first main thing that I really wanted to do is just another event. I mean, we had the small events back in the day, and we had clients like, when are you going to do one of those again? So we wanted to just like blow this out. I mean, it had been a dry spell because of COVID, 18 long months of not bringing the community together. And for me, it was more so about that, was just doing like a fun day that everyone that could come and enjoy, and then see our services, and then see what we're all about. So to me, it was about that. And then of course, like team bonding, like we had the most incredible time, like, being able to be excited about what we were offering and showing it. So to me, it was more of like a community strategy.
Mm-hmm. And kind of creating your space as a spa for your community more than just,
Totally.
Okay. So let's talk through some of the things that were done in preparation, because I think a lot of people just want to say, oh, I'm going to throw an event together. Right. But let's walk through. So we talked about permitting. We talked about being clear on the offer. How were you marketing this leading up to the event? Like, let's talk about, the types of ads you were doing, how you were talking about it in the rooms. Like, what did that look like?
So I want to say our very first step was just like a save the date. And this was back in June. We just did like a mass save the date. We ended up doing ours via email and then posting it on our socials. I think we had kind of talked about like sending like a physical one out to all of our addresses, but we ended up just going with like a mass email and then posting it on our socials. So it was just save the date. We weren't saying what our offer was. It was just kind of giving them like, put this on your calendar. And then I want to say a month after that, so July and August is when we went heavy on like marketing. So paying for Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads. We were all over the radio. We were on every single radio station in Northern Arizona. So the radio ad was only 30 seconds, but it was telling the audience to come in to our spa that day for an open house event. And that's when we actually started marketing what the special was. So it was, our deal was 20% off everything. So retail, products, services, packages, whatever it was going to be 20% off that day and that day only. And then, of course, we had to throw in the live demos. We were telling people you could come and actually see these treatments being performed live. You can even get them done on yourself. Of course, food, drinks, swag bags, all the fun things. So just really creating like the hype, and the red carpet is kind of what you were telling me. You want to make that red carpet, and just
the giveaways too. That's the important.
And the giveaways. Yep. Yeah. We had these giveaways going on. Yeah. I totally forgot. $5,000 worth of giveaways was the big one.
Perfect. So approximately how much did you spend on advertising between radio, Facebook ads, Google ads?
I want to say we did around 4,000 total, which
I have that. Let me see if I can find it.
We did about 1,800 in radio. Facebook, Instagram was around 1,000, and then marketing materials was about like 800. So we also had these super cute flyers that we printed out, and it was posted all over our spa, and we were just handing them out to our clients that day. And then also we have a large community of nurses that are our clients, and they love our services. So they would take a stack of those flyers and post them all over the hospital. If we had a couple hours of downtime, or if one of my estheticians had a couple hours of downtime, she would block herself off the calendar and go around to all the hair salons and give them a stack. And of course, hair salons, once, they just start talking about the fun events going on. So that was huge. But also just word of mouth went really well for us.
So you were, anytime that a client would come in, you would say, did you hear about our event happening on this date? Like,
it was all over the place. We had signs, we had boards, like it was like our mission to like annoy people about telling them about our event.
That's what I want. Okay, good. Let's talk about the giveaways, because I think that's a really, for me, it was this aha moment when you and I were talking about this, where you're like, you can ask your vendors.
I was like scared to. I was like, and you were like, no, you have to. Like, that is their job. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like I'm going to write this email right now.
And you got some incredible giveaways, right?
Yeah.
So you're a DMK account. DMK gave you some,
So DMK, they gave us, 3 different uh, product treatment kits. So for 3 people, and then it also includes the product to actually do 3 of the DMK services. So we got 3 of those from them. We got 3 microneedling kits from Skin Pen, 3 from Face Reality. Color Science gave us like giant baskets of just a bunch of product. And then we kind of threw in like a locals basket too. And this was like a members only giveaway. So if you're a member, you can only enter. And it was like a bunch of gift cards from local businesses, and then like a gift card from us, and cute little, trinkets that we sell on retail. So that was like a members only basket. But the cool part, I think, that you helped me come up with was that passport that people got when they first showed up to the event. So we had an entire check-in desk, we had a RSVP list, and then we had just a mass list of all of our clients, and they would be checking in. We'd kind of give them a spiel, because what we really strategized was it was all so organized and laid out. Mm-hmm. We wanted our clients to, grab their drinks, grab their food, head in, and it wasn't going to go straight to the consultation. It was like, you have to watch the demos first, because we really don't want people coming straight to the consult and being like, what's DMK? Well, we'll go watch it right next door, really quick. So they got these passports, and I just made them off of Canva. They came out super cute. The passport was essentially just their raffle tickets. And so
they had to get each one stamped every time they went in.
One stamped. And they weren't able to enter the giveaways until it had a stamp on it. So there was 3 different live demos that we had. We had a DMK live demo, and we had a new client like every hour and a half. We had a microneedling live demo. And then we also had laser live demo. So after they've watched each of the demos, they got a stamp, and then they could earn their 4th raffle or stamp by signing up for a consultation, like a 15-minute consult. So after they've seen the services, they can kind of decide on their own, like, ooh, I think that's something I really want. After being educated by the service provider or the rep, they were able to come to us and be like, okay, tell me more about this. I want to know pricing. So we were kind of the ones telling them pricing. We were recommending products and kind of getting them set up on a treatment plan. So from there, we had this really awesome like ticket item situation where it was like, okay, you want 1 microneedling, check, and it had the discounted price. You want 1 hydrofacial, check. And then we would write a list of the products that we recommended. We'd put their name on the top, the provider on the top, so that they could get credit for whatever they were selling. And then they would take that ticket up to our front desk. And then the front desk, it was super simple and easy. They'd be like, all right, boom, boom, boom. Okay, you owe us this today. And it was just so organized. And then from there, people were entering into the giveaways. And it was like mad chaos, but it was like fun chaos and like super fun. I want to say the consultation sign-up sheet was like at like 20 people long.
That was okay. So let's talk about that. Cause when you and I did the debrief, I always ask, okay, I want all the numbers, all the metrics, but what worked well and what didn't work well. And so that we can improve upon next time. Right. And I remember you saying one of the things was we didn't have enough providers to do consults.
We did not. So at the time, there's 4 estheticians, including myself, but I knew that day I was not going to be strapped down doing consults. I was kind of like putting out fires around. I was just floating around, and so we had 3 of our girls doing the consultations that day. And I mean, even when it's a 10-minute consult and we had people lined outside of our spa to get in, like we had to tell people to stop coming in because it got so crowded. And of course, with like COVID nowadays, you don't want to overcrowd the space, but that is one thing that I feel like some people may have even just left because they were like waiting for so long. So that was like missed opportunity there. So I just know that next time, and I'm going to continue to hire, I think having 6 or more consults is definitely necessary to get.
And also one thing that you did to try and help that, like after the event, you're calling the people,
Yes.
right? So that's an important thing.
That was the
Don't forget the downsell. Okay.
Yeah,
So if you're doing an event, you're always leaving money on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I guess we should back up a little bit, big picture. One thing I think is really, really important when you're doing an event is when you want to be collecting RSVPs ahead of time. So they call an RSVP also, so you can have some idea of how much food they're going to purchase or how drinks or all these things. Right. And like, especially with COVID, like understanding where you live, what people are comfortable with, like maybe people want to have a virtual aspect to an event, et cetera. But if they're calling and saying, hey, I'm interested, then when someone actually shows up, they sign in. So you know who was there and who wasn't. So your team can be calling and following up with every single person who showed any level of interest, saying, hey, I know we were super crowded and, maybe you didn't get all of your questions answered. We want to be able to offer you an extension of, the event and do a full consultation so you can make a decision without feeling rushed. Right. And that was what pushed you over the 60,000.
Yes, it was. I want to say we did an additional 4 on the downsell. And then the other thing that we did is we actually kept the consultation sheets. And so we were like, okay, this client that actually showed up, they may have bought some things, but they didn't buy everything that, we suggested. And so the girls were calling them, hey, thank you so much for coming to our event. And we noticed that you purchased some things while you were here. Just so you know, we're still offering that discount if you wanted to grab those couple other things while you were here. And most of the time people were like, yep, because I think that when it sounds like a lot at first when they're getting overwhelmed, and a couple of days later, they're like, oh, I wish I would have got all of it, so I ended up getting it.
Okay. So let's talk about what was your biggest takeaway after going through this experience? You're about a month out now. Like, I remember right away, you're like, I'm not doing another event
I'm on event hangover. Yeah, I was on event hangover. And here I am planning like a mini event in a couple of weeks for our members. But the biggest takeaway, first of all, I was just extremely proud of my team. Like, I was like, holy cow, they kept like the biggest smiles on their face and none of us ate lunch or drank or got up or anything. So I was just extremely impressed with my team. As far as like what I feel like we really could have done better was, I guess, even just more marketing. I feel like more marketing and just, I would say I probably put like 70% of my effort into it. And I can't even imagine the like blow up. It would have been even double if I was like 100% in, which I'm super excited to be, stepping out of the treatment room so that next year when we do this, it's like, I am like all in. Yeah. But definitely I feel like we strategized everything and we were super organized so that we had a really good flow, but even with that, we still were like kind of overwhelmed at some points.
So I want to pivot a little bit towards your team, because in the beginning you said like it was really a great team building exercise. And you just mentioned like how proud you were of your team. What have you noticed post-event? Like, because also when I'm looking at your debrief for here, 36 new clients day of event.
Yep.
And then, going through something like that, being a part of something that's so successful, it's got to improve like team morale as well. And also keeping them busy. Like when your team has people on their books, it's just like, they're happy.
They're super busy and happy right now. One thing kind of going back to like team, it was super cool. They decided to just split all their retail sales that day. They didn't want to be like competing against each other. Like, oh, well, I sold her that. I want to make sure I got credit. It was just like, whatever you guys sell, they split it 5 ways, including the front desk girls. And so that was like, they decided that on their own. I thought that was like huge for them to like not be as like greedy and just, we are doing this as a team together today. We're not competing against each other. So that was huge. But as far as afterwards, we've just been extremely booked, and I think they're happy because in the beginning of August, we were a little bit slow. And I think it was because people weren't coming in because I knew that we were going to have this like huge event. So we got a little bit slow for, in the beginning of August, and now with the students back and everyone coming in for their services, I think they're just super excited.
But historically, August or September is typically a slow month in spa.
So
anyways.
It was probably a little bit of both of that, but we definitely have people who are like, I'm going to wait because I'm coming in 2 weeks. I think one thing too that we didn't mention is we had the phones going all day. So this was another huge thing. We made it easy, just like you can text us your order because we only had one phone line. And so we knew we weren't going to be able to just be on the phone all day. So just text us your order, your name, let us know if you want us to build a credit card on file. Otherwise, we'll give you a call for the new credit card info. Or our point of sale system has a super easy invoice. So you just send them the invoice. It breaks everything down. They can type in their card number themselves. That was huge. We did a lot of online sales. And the following week, the girls put together, all the products that they had, and they would come and pick up the next week.
So let's talk about staffing, because at the time of the event, so there you had 3 estheticians, one front desk, right?
So I had a total of 4 estheticians. And then I had 2 people doing checkouts, 1 on the phones. I had a total of 11 workers, including like friends and family that were helping out.
That's what I want to get to, because I think people are like, oh man, well, she has a huge team.
I don't. Yeah.
No, you're like calling all friends and family and boyfriends, friends,
boyfriends, best friends, and we all got matching shirts. And it was funny because I had a lot of people, like my friends that were helping me. They're like, wow, so you hired like 3 estheticians just for this event? And I'm like, I wish I could find 3 more estheticians, but they're just my friends that know so much about my business already. And, they joined in, and I had one of my friends just designated to social media. She had my Instagram, and she's good at the whole Instagram thing. So that was her main job the entire day, was just to capture and kind of create a hype for people watching our stories. Maybe some of them would get FOMO and jump up and run to our event because it was a long day. We were going from 10 to 5. Mm-hmm. And that is another big takeaway. I don't think I'll go that long next time.
I think we did that because of COVID, because we wanted to do timed entry in the beginning and then have kind of the soiree.
Anyways, the check-in was important. I have a super close friend who works at a hotel, and she's already great with customer service. And then my accountant, who is super close and involved in our business, she was also doing check-ins and kind of running down the system of the day and letting our clients know. It was a huge team effort.
Yeah. And I think that's really important for, like, there's always, where there's a will, there's a way, right? So for the people out there that maybe it's just an esthetician and 1 or 2 other people, how can you create that environment? How can you be resourceful and get people so that you're utilizing your providers on the consults or the things that only they can do?
Exactly. So that was huge by getting my reps to commit to come to this event. I was like, I really need you guys here, because if I have to put my esthetician in your position to do the demos, then that's one person I don't have actually selling the services. So both DMK and laser committed to being there. The only rep that did drop out was my skin pen rep. And I was like, oh, great. We're going to have to rotate my girls and do the demos. So what I ended up doing is I called a colleague from DMK that I know that does microneedling. She has a skin pen. She's been a little bit slower in her aesthetic business. And I was like, hey, can I pay you for a day? I'll get your hotel room. Please come up. I'll pay you and just do live demos for a skin pen all day. And so she came up. She doesn't work for us, but she's an esthetician down in Phoenix and came up and helped us. So I think it's just being resourceful and creative.
Yeah. And whatever it takes to make that happen. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so, I love the idea of collaboration, not competition. And I think that, when we see spas, oftentimes we're thinking like, oh, that's my competition or but you have no competition. right?
No.
You're creating an environment of, this is the culture, and this is how at Allure, this is how we make people feel. And so
Totally.
our people are the ones that want to feel and be treated in this way, right?
Totally.
You can build positive relationships with other spas in your area and have that help, where I know this gal was in Arizona, or was in Phoenix, but still, like,
Totally.
there's nothing wrong with building those relationships and supporting one another, because the more people that know about med spa and love these services, the bigger the pool is for everybody.
So something I didn't even mention was we actually had a nurse injector there. She does not work for Allure. She is our direct referral for Botox and injections. We don't have a injector that works at Allure, but she does amazing work, and she is a loyal client of ours. And so she was just there doing live consults. So she wasn't, and then she also decided to provide free vitamin B12 shots too. So that was a super fun add-on. So, she was bringing her clients in that didn't know anything about our business, and then a lot of our clients. So it was just networking, and it went awesome.
Good. So in wrapping up, what advice do you have? What would you say to an esthetician who's like, that sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so inspired. I'm scared.
A little bit scary, but it's so worth it. Like, this event gave my team so much opportunity. To have that immediate cash flow into your business all at once was like a huge weight off my shoulders. It's so worth it. It's going to take a lot of time and planning. And I would say the earlier you can start planning, the better, because there's no way that you can cram all of the logistics into a month or, 2 months out for something this big. That's going to be like your one big time annual event. The more time you have to plan, the more people you have on your team to, help you out, even not on your team, but, family, friends, to take some weight off your shoulders, I think is super important in delegating. But don't be scared. It's totally worth it.
Perfect. Well, you guys can learn more about Taylor. What is your Instagram? Where do you want people to follow you and stay in touch?
Definitely Instagram. We're pretty active with all of our followers. So it's at Allure, ALLURE.AZ.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Taylor, and congratulations. I can't wait until next year.
It's going to be.
Is that the goal? Double?
Yep,
double?
We're going to double, triple. I think we're in triple.
Triple. There we go. Starting planning now.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
All right.